Okay, so one of the things that I want to say right up front with longer projects is it sucks because quicker projects are much more compatible with um, getting things done. When you're a beginner, they're easier to make. But longer projects, a lot of times, are required for more complex games. And guess what most people want to make? They want to make more complex games. So I would say one of the immediate pros of longer projects is the complexity with which you can make projects, right? So you can have bigger systems, you can have more effects, you can have all this stuff. But that complexity at the same time is also a con, because if you don't know or understand a lot of programming or how stuff works, complexity within a system like that, within a game, within a project, can also come back to bite you, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I think you've got to be ready for the size of project you take on as well. Because if you take on a massive project and you're not ready for it, then it can eat away at your soul a little bit, destroy you. You've got to be. It's the whole, make sure you walk before you run type thing. So the one of the downsides of a big project is it can block you from developing and improving if you take on
Yeah.
something too big, particularly if you take on a game that's too big for you. And how do you know
Yeah.
if it's
So
too big? I think if you look at it and you say, I don't know how to do any of this, maybe it's too big.
yeah, I do think there's some healthiness in taking on challenges that you don't know how to do, because I think it's how you learn. But I think a lot of the problem with something like game development is game development by itself is already a massive undertaking, right? So then you don't know how to do a thing, and you say, I'm going to take on this big project to do this thing, but you really don't know what you don't know. You think that thing is so massive that it's a 10 out of 10, but really it's so massive that it's 153 out of 10. You know what I mean? And it's like you have no idea. You think you equate those things to be the same thing because you just dive into the project and you think you can get stuff done. But I think specifically when you are working on larger projects, motivation is much more of an issue. Like you have to keep it up for a longer term. You have to do stuff for a long time. And there's a lot of boring parts on bigger games, right? Like if you are uh racing a car on the weekends, that's fun. But like if you're racing professionally, you also have to fully understand the whole system. You have to take apart the car and rebuild the car. You have to like make sure your engine is up to scratch and all that stuff. And it's a very different kind of deal when you're doing it longer term.